Hi, I'm Marilyn San Clemente of Stamp with Marilyn, and welcome to my creative playground. Last week I did a class on these gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous accordion fold cards that fold out like this. And here's one that I made with the Lights Aglow designer paper, which I love. And what I want to show you today, people were a little bit confused about how to put the card together and how to assemble. So what I'm going to show you today is I'm using all different colors of cardstock so that you can see how this goes together. Card base is 4 1/4 by 9 1/2. So we're going to cut that. And we're going to score that at 1 inch. Move my cutting blade, and 2 inches. And same thing, we're going to turn it, and we're going to score at 1 inch. And 2 inches. Okay, and now what we want to do is just lightly fold this so we can see those score lines, and we're going to line this up at the 1/2 inch mark, and I just want to make a little slit at that 1/2 inch mark to the 1 inch score line. So not too far. And then I'm going to flip my paper, and I'm going to do the same thing and make sure it's on the same side as that tab that you just made. And we're going to do the same thing. Cut to the 1 inch line. Okay, there we go. So we're going to cut in and cut this tab off. Okay, and then the next thing that we want to do is we want to cut from that 1 inch line diagonally up to the 2 inch line. And you can do that on your paper cutter. I like doing it with scissors. I just think it's easier because you really have to, this is a long piece, so you'd have to turn it, and I don't know, it gets. So then you're going to have all these little pieces left over. And now we're going to fold this into a gatefold pattern. So this is our card base. And as I said before, these pieces don't need to be the same color, but I would use the pieces that you're making for this to be the same color. So it'll make more sense in a minute. But so now what we're going to do is we're going to start layering. So we have 2 pieces that are 3 1/4 by 2 1/4, and we have 2 pieces that are 2 3/4 by 3 3/4, and those are these pieces right here. So now we just need to make these mechanisms to support the folds on this card. So the first thing that we're going to do, so this card will be a 5 1/2 by 4 1/4 card. It probably will not fit in an envelope just because of all the layers that are on it, but it does fit in from a size perspective, okay? And the first thing we're going to do is to add that back layer, which is the larger layer. So I'm using this crushed curry, and I'm going to add glue. And actually I want to check this first. Okay, if you have a little bit of an overhang here, I would trim that so that it folds better. Yep, and I do right here too. Okay. Okay, there we go. So let's put those down. Okay, and you really, really need to crease this, and I don't know where my bone folder went. So when I can't find my bone folder, I use the side of a pen. There we go. Okay, so these are even, and I'm just going to add some adhesive to the tabs, or to the first tab, and we're going to line up. These cards work from the inside. They work from the outside in because they're going to fold out. So we're going to line this up. We want to line up the bottom of the layer with the side and the square bottom of this card. And you want to make sure that this bottom is lined up. Okay. And now here is the other tab. And same thing, we're going to line this up, that bottom corner. Oh, it's hard to do. Okay, there we go, like that. So easy peasy, and it meets in the middle, which is what it should do. And it should be pretty even across here. If it's not, again, you can trim it. I've got a little bit showing on one side, so I'm just going to trim a smidge off. Okay, so these meet in the middle. If yours does not meet exactly in the middle, it might look a little bit like that. That's fine. I've had a couple that look like that, and you know, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to make that piece to put this on our next layer. So I have 2 pieces of white. These are 3 inches by 3 1/8, and we're going to score these on the 3-inch side. We're going to score it at 1 inch and 2 inches, and these are going to be our connectors that connect that last piece. Okay, and again, we're going to score on the 3-inch. Make sure I'm on the 3-inch. Yep. And we're going to score at 1 inch and 2 inches. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to make a Z fold with these. Oops, that was a scrap. But it's not going to matter because this is going to be hidden. So we're going to make a Z fold, and what we want to do is we're going to create another connecting piece, another tab. So we want this to fold out, or we want this to fold in again. So we want the fold of the Z to be here. And we're going to add our tape here. We're going to line this up with the bottom again, like we did before, and then we're going to press that down. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to make a Z fold. And I want that fold to be towards the middle, so it's going to go like this. Okay, so I'm going to open this up, put my tape here, and line that up with the bottom. So the most important corner, or the most important piece of this card, is this bottom. You want all these pieces on the bottom to be lined up. Okay? And now we're just going to add our last piece, our last little piece. And again, this is hidden. So I would make this piece the same color as your card base so that you don't see this connecting piece. It will all blend in. Okay? So I'm going to add my adhesive, line this up again on the bottom and along the side, and there we go. Okay, and then, oops, messing myself up here. Okay, so I've got the bottom and the side lined up. Make sure. There we go. Okay, so there, oops. Okay, there is our card base. So now you would decorate the card. And when I decorated mine, I did a 3-part, or I did a 3-layer piece. So I had that I have this piece, which is 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. I wanted to use the copper foil because it's just beautiful under this paper. So I cut the copper foil to 2 5/8 by 3 5/8, and then I cut the designer paper to 2 1/2 by 3 1/2. And then the same thing here. This is 3 1/4 by 2 1/4. So the copper foil is 2 1/8 by 3 1/8, and then the designer paper is 2 by 3. So I just cut each layer down. And then the inside of this card is 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. So I cut the white piece to 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and then I put a piece of copper underneath that. So now what we want to do is we just want to make a belly band to hold this all together. And you can make a belly band. I used a piece of 1 inch by 11 inch or 12, well, in this case, 12-inch paper. And for this one, I used a piece of designer paper, and then my designer paper was laying on top of my cleaning pad and got a little wet, so then it tore a little bit. But, you know, that's, you don't have to use just regular cardstock. You can use designer paper. And then this one, I used a 1-inch piece, and I decorated this front of the belly band. And because the Lights Aglow paper is 6 inches, I couldn't decorate all the way around the belly band, but that's okay. You don't necessarily need to do that. So to make a belly band, I would recommend that you decorate this because that's going to add layers to this and it's going to make it thicker. I would recommend starting with a 1 to 1.5 inch piece of cardstock by 11 inches. I'm going to lay my card down, and again, you want to decorate it because it is going to be thicker. And then you're going to just gently kind of fold it, and you want it to be loose because you want to be able to slide it off and on. So, and this was a piece I used before. And then I have a 2 1/4 inch piece of green, and I'm going to use that for the front to tie the belly band together. And what I really like about this is you can use any shape. You could use a circle, you could use ovals, you could use a really pretty frame. You know, Stampin' Up! Has a lot of really fun shapes, so you could use one of those shapes on the front of this as well. So this is what the card looks like when it's all put together. And this is what it looks like from the back. So again, you would want to make these two connecting pieces the same color as your card base, so that that's kind of hidden and you don't see that. And then have fun with it. These are a lot of fun to decorate, and they're not that hard to make once you've made it. So here's my Rustic Harvest, and then here is my Lights Aglow that I did. So thank you for checking this out today. Have fun making these gorgeous, gorgeous cards. And thank you for signing up for my classes. Take care.